Ethiopians because of the women, because the women were more vicious than the men. And in the innermost circle, you have the children and the elders. The children were there, the women need to be there because men don't have the ability to breastfeed. Then you have the elders there because who better to socialize, to teach the children about who they are than the people who have been you the longest, who are living. We have allowed someone else's insane community model to separate our elders from our children. So the children do not want to have to deal with the elders, and the elders are afraid of the children for good reason. It is now up to those in the middle to bring that back together. Because the children aren't going to initiate it, the elders aren't going to initiate it, even if they had the time. Ask backwards solutions. I especially like to talk about this in terms of the thinking of our children. So we have people in the conscious community who still value the European idea of classics. These are their stories. Victor Hugo, Charles Dickens, Socrates, Plato, all the rest of these folks who are classics in terms, who have written classics in terms of how they think, because they think like Europeans. Classics help you to see how you're supposed to interpret reality. Right. Your people's classics do that. That's why they're classics, because they're you. So we go through the process and we brag about how they know French, how they know Italian, how they know Japanese, how they know Chinese, and that they read this book, and this book, and this book, and this book by some famous author. Oh, y'all read, he read Victor Hugo, this, big fat thick thing. And then later on, after they're thinking like Europeans, we want to introduce some African classics to them. So they're interpreting African classics through European eyes. Yes. That's kind of ass backwards to me. No character. I want to about character, and then we'll talk about Chris Wilson for a minute. One thing I want to say about character is when I started trying to write about what it means to be an African man or African woman, I wrote a book called Thyself. Yes. And Thyself was good, I think, in terms of defining African manhood. I realized a few years later that, I began to hear from young men in particular that they were not receiving the respect that they should have been receiving from elder men in the community. And at the same time, I was hearing from elder men in the community who were talking about the lack of respect that they were receiving from the young men in the community. And to me, it came down to issues of character. I said, either we never learned, or we learned and we forgot what African character is. So that led me to write the book Iwa, which is about a warrior's character, where I pull from our traditions what should be character. In the context of being in war, you can't just take the oral codes of Ma'a, the principles of Ma'a, and apply them to everybody equally. You will be taken for a fool.
Yes, sir.
You have to understand the context of war, what that means, even though those principles should still apply. So you got to think in terms of who you're dealing with. In our space, we should be African toward each other. But in the face of enemies, that's all they're named, even confused folks. So a good example for me is a young man who came to our school who got into a lot of fights before he came to us. And when he came, he was frustrated, he was, didn't keep himself, but everything he did with other people were aggressive. And he was smart. Surprise, surprise. I took him out on a porch, I'm talking to him, and I said, in this space, you can be African. I understand out there how you have to put up your shield, how you put up the walls, how you have to. But in this space, you can be African, and those modern principles apply in here. And he understood that. He understood, and he was happy from there and forward in that space because he understood there were no threats. We treated each other like we were supposed to. In an alien horrible, insane environment, there was this African oasis. That's what we have to have for our children, safe, sacred spaces for our children. You're not changing this. This has intent. It's got power. It's moving in the direction it has for a reason. These folks are in the position that they are on the planet, not because they're stupid. They are very, very good at what they do. They are the best at death, destruction, and domination ever. So you're not changing that. Why would they change that when they're winning? Why would they want to be African except in appearance? Nana, I say Nana for all of my honored ancestors. Nana Francis Chris Wilson. She said, black children are our most valuable possession and our greatest potential resource. Any meaningful discussion of the survival or the future of black people must be predicated upon black people's plan for the maximal development of all black children. Children are the only future of any people. If the children's lives are squandered, and if the children of a people are not fully developed at whatever cost and sacrifice, the people will have consigned themselves to certain death. They will be destroyed from without or from within by the attack of their own children against them. And they may be destroyed by both. We see this. We see this. They're angry. I'd be angry too. If most of the folks who I saw who were supposed to be men in my community were punks, and I'm trying to be a man, I'd be a little ticked off. This is what I'm gonna grow up to be. This is how people look at me. I'm that weak. This brings up the point. Men have to be an example. I've heard from so many brothers, and I know it's frustrating. I know it's extremely frustrating to be the only man out of 100 men who's acting like, or should I say 100 grown adults, I mean adult males, or grown males, or males above a certain age. You're the only one who's actually a man. But I love it when these brothers are men and they walk into a room where there's a bunch of boys and a bunch of grown males. Yes. Because the boys immediately recognize him as a man and all over the country. My father said to me, a man can stand alone. And he didn't mean I needed to be by myself. He just meant it doesn't make a difference if there are 1,000 grown males around you. You're still supposed to be a man. That's right. You're still supposed to model that, period. The Commodores, on their Heroes album, they had a song titled Heroes. Had a line that said, what makes a soldier ride alone in the battle? Righteousness. They don't care about the consequences. I'm right. That's why Irritated does what he does. That's why Solly does what he does. That's why I do what I do. I know that I'm right. If I'm wrong, that means the universe is wrong. This is just something I like. Fear is a prison. It is. It keeps you from doing everything that you need to do to save your children. And it's usually fear for self. You're not afraid for your children, because if you were afraid for your children, then you would be doing things that need to be done. You're afraid for yourself. And this one I just think is a pretty picture. Where do pedophiles go? They go where our children are at. They're not wandering around hoping to stumble upon somebody somewhere. They systematically go where our children are at. Yes. Systematically. So you're going to find them at the YMCA. You're going to find them in the schools. You're going to find them in the churches. You're going to find them on the playground. And we can't trust anybody. I don't care how well I know you. You're not going anywhere with that boy.
That's right.
You're not going anywhere.
That's real.
And it's not, I have a problem with you. I want you to be the warrior that works with me. But I don't know you. If I'm a pedophile, then my job is to make sure that you don't know what I'm about, or I can't be a pedophile. I like this one too. We need to start using that word. I love words. Invasive. When you talk about plants, you're an invasive species of plants. And they'll come in and they'll smother the rest of the plants in the air and they'll take over.
Yes.
Europeans are an invasive species. They cannot just leave stuff alone. They're going to come in and they're going to smother whatever else is there, and they're going to take over that space. And pretty soon you're not going to recognize it as whatever the destroyed space. I have two of these. This one I think is important. This one is in the homosexuality and feminization of African males. I need you to listen carefully. Think about the percents. Because when you understand the percents, then you understand the magnitude. And homosexuality and feminization of African males was written about 15 years ago. And these statistics have increased in their magnitude. And these statistics are underestimates.
Yep.
Understatements of the fact. If there are now over 4 million, that's according to FBI statistics at that time, admitted, I would suggest that most aren't admitted. Just like most serial killers aren't caught, because you can't tell that they're serial killers. How many black males during the time of our enslavement or during Jim Crow were killed or lynched because some white guy who he couldn't defend himself against in a court said he killed somebody that the white guy killed? How many cops are serial killers? We can't identify because it's part of their job. So you're talking about admitted through the legal system. If there are now over 4 million child molesters in this country, as stated by the Department of Justice, and which is in all probability a serious undercount, and each will have a career. These folks, they study this stuff. Just like they ask questions about what animal's vagina is closest to that of a female. What kind of mom comes up with this stuff? And each will have a career record of between 70 and 380 victims in their lifetime. And if this were their first day on the job, then in 20 or 30 years, they will have infected somewhere between 280 million and 1.5 billion people. That's 4 million. That's an army.
Nation.
This is their statistics. They interviewed these people. And this was at that time. There were 4 billion. And how many? Well, you think the pedophile assaults one child and then that's it? No, just like rapists, robbers, everything. This becomes careers. A rapist doesn't stop raping with one. They perfect their craft. A robber doesn't stop robbing with one. A killer doesn't stop killing with one. Pedophiles don't stop with one. So in 20 to 30 years, this 4 million will have molested 280 million